Hey all, welcome to my series How to Beat the Extreme AI, where I'm going to bring you a whole load of different ways to beat that pesky computer. In this episode, we're going to fight the AI with greed and the strongest units in the game. I've noticed in a few comments that the main goal of a lot of people is just to win versus the AI in a non-cheesy way, and I think this meets that challenge. When you're less experienced with the game and playing against the extreme AI, it definitely feels like it's cheating. It constantly spams units and gets up to the next stage before you've had a proper chance to stabilise. To replicate that feeling, I'm going up against two extreme AIs at once. So even if I can get the better of one of my opponents, the other should be out booming me. So how are we going to do this? We're going to be greedy. There's no point in going full feudal against one of the other enemies if the other one will just overrun my base with knights. As you can see, I've picked Persians, as they have a great economy and have an amazing late game, assuming you don't completely run out of gold. They get the most powerful unit in the game, the elite war elephant. This thing has 620 HP and can pretty much smash any other unit 2v1, so it's perfect for this challenge. They also get fully upgraded Paladin, Heavy Camel and Hussar, as well as being able to make trash bows, which are crossbows that don't cost gold. This latest one is the key. As most of Persian's power comes from mounted units, these trash bows will deal with all the halberdiers that the AI can throw at us. I'm going to start off by going for a fast castle. I want to be able to make knights as soon as I hit castle age, so I'm not trying to go up as fast as I can, but instead going up with 27 villagers. By the end of Dark Age, I want 9 on wood, 11 on food, and 4 on gold. I'm going to push all my deer, although milling them would be fine too, and get my walls up by minute 12, which should keep me pretty safe until I can make some knights. To go up to castle age, I'm going to build a blacksmith and a stable. It's really important to get some armour upgrades on the knights, so we can easily push away the archers that the AI loves so much. Get the first armour on your way up to castle age. Try and also get the first lumber camp and mill upgrades on your way up too. At this point, there's two things you'll need to focus on. The first is to spend all your wood on farms so that we can make lots of knights and villagers when we hit castle age. The second is to keep an eye on your walls and make sure you don't let the enemy through. If they get in, you're kind of dead, so try to keep them out. When you're in castle age, start making knights. Get the second lumber camp upgrade and second cavalry armour when you can, but this could take a few minutes. As soon as you have a couple of knights, send them forward. You're unlikely to be able to fight away the 20 plus archers that the AI has at this point, so go on the attack, get to their base, and cross your fingers that their military follows you back to their base. This is a fairly critical part of the game, as we need to do some damage while we have knights and they're still in feudal. It's really important to keep your knights alive and to try to only fight villagers, not their army. Take a look what your enemy civilizations are and go and attack the one that worries you most. It's about this point that I realised I'm against Italians, and I wish I'd restarted this game. Genoese crossbow kills most things that we want to make. Needless to say, I'm going to go and send my knights to them. Be patient and run around his base, setting waypoints to make sure that your units run the right way. This guy really wants to collect this gold, so I attack it, then run around a wood line, dragging all his military with me until the villagers return, and then I attack it again. As I start to find some good damage on his wood line, I notice my wood has stockpiled up, so I drop another town centre. Between 20 and 23 minutes into the game is a good time to start booming. I also send a couple of knights to get rid of the annoying feudal army and pick off reinforcements, as I need to think about expanding my base and getting stone walls and castles up, which will help to keep me safe until the late game. During this time, my main focus is booming, but I keep making a couple of knights here and there and killing Red's villagers whenever I get the chance. Here's a few techniques to help you boom. Select all your town centres and put them on a control group by pressing Ctrl and a number of your choice. I put them on 2, as this allows me to use my middle finger to hit 2 and my ring finger to hit Q, which is my create new villager hotkey. Do whatever suits you, just get used to constantly selecting all TCs and spamming villagers, doing this at least every 10 seconds. Set all TC gather points to wood, and whenever you start to have a couple of hundred wood banked up, select some villagers and make some farms. That's all there is to it. The Art of War training challenge on booming is a great way to get used to doing this in a stress-free environment. Focusing now back to the game, I put a few villagers on stone around the start of Castle Age, and now I have enough stone to build a castle. I decided to build it here north of my base, as it protects a gold pile and gives me access to extra wood. And it's between me and yellow. Yellow has about the same score as me at this point, so I need to try and keep up with them. A couple of minutes later, I have enough res to drop another castle, and decide to stick it on this big hill, as it feels like that'll keep the south of my base protected, allowing me to expand to the southeast edge of the map. So I delete my walls, and then pretty damn quickly start getting inundated with pikemen from both enemies. Pikemen aren't all that scary, so some spam clicking later and the castle thankfully goes up. When you reach around 30 minutes into the game, you really need to start thinking about getting to the Imperial Age. You need to have stone walls up, castles surrounding your base, more villagers starting to be put on gold, and finally, loads and loads of military production buildings. Initially my plan was to use defensive buildings to hold off yellow until I can get war elephants and trash bows out, and send all my initial Imperial Age troops to finish red off. Unfortunately, yellow reached Imperial Age before me and started spamming Cavalier before I even managed to reach Imp. I managed to hold off his initial attack wave with a few Cavalier, making sure I didn't engage the fight until I knew I would win. This gave me the time I needed to get my walls up and send the Cav to red as planned. I'm careful not to spend all my gold on Cavalier, as war elephants are expensive and cost quite a lot of gold as well, so I start spamming Hussar into red's town and quite quickly destroy his economy. Yellow is really starting to push now, this time bringing trebuchets and killing my castle in seconds. I don't have enough castles for elephant production, so I start to add in some heavy camels to deal with the paladin. Building a castle about 5 tiles behind the one that just got destroyed was probably not a good idea, so unsurprisingly that goes down pretty quickly. I'll admit I get a little bit cheesy here by, shall we say, encouraging the AI to fight in a tiny choke point, because I really need a minute or two to get elephants out. As soon as I get a few of the fat boys out, the game starts to swing in my favour. The only counter to war elephants at this point in the game is monks, and there aren't many on the field in late game. The few that are around, I try and snipe with my hussars. During all this chaos, my army still seems to be alive in red's base, so I leave them there, carrying on doing their things. They seem to also be taking out quite a lot of trade, so I'm definitely not going to interfere with that. Once I research elite war elephants, they happily start taking down castles and pretty much anything they want. I now shift my attention to getting to my late game composition. All idle villagers get sent to wood, I research Commanderan, drop lots of archery ranges and start making trash bows. Short term, elephants and hussars are fine to deal with halberdiers, but in the long term they are definitely not cost effective, so these trash bows will be really helpful. I turn my attention to pushing yellow's base, as he has basically been untouched for the first 50 minutes of the game. Late game unit production and management isn't too hard with Persians. Make hussars and war elephants with any food and gold you have, and make trash bows with any wood. I use select all archery ranges, stables and castles to make sure I'm producing from all my military production buildings. I make a couple of trebs, keep pushing forwards, and I think I've won the game. My score looks great, red was dead and yellow can't do much to stop my army. Then suddenly red appears with the dreaded Genoese crossbows and skirmishers. Everything he needs to make light work of my push. Genoese crossbows have such a large attack bonus against cavalry that a group of about 30 of them can one-shot an elite war elephant. I get pushed back, so I turn my attention to red again. I could switch to skirmishers to counter his army, but Persian skirmishers are a bit rubbish, so I stick with trash bows. I push through red's base, destroy some more trade, and crucially take out his castles. While doing this, I'm losing the north of my base to yellow, so I set the gather point for my reinforcements in my base rather than at the front line. I keep a few of my units in red's base to make sure he doesn't come back from the dead a second time. While losing half of my base, I make new villages and send them around the map to mine gold, as I'll need more elephants for my next push. Eventually, red resigns, with yellow following soon after. I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. Please hit subscribe and like if you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of this series, check out some of the other videos, and if you want to see a particular strategy featured in the next video, please leave a comment below. That's all for now, catch you in the next video, and good luck!